I've saved my changes as CorePathOutline.ai, and in this exercise, I'm going to show you how to make an alteration. So, as I said, I want to make this guy's thumb come out. Right now, it curls around. I want to make it come out into this guy's hand. And then, by the same token, this guy's going to have his index and pinky extended, making a sort of hang 10 gesture. Now, in order to pull that off, I need to make a modification to this region right here. And I'm going to do that by switching to the wide arrow tool. I'm going to marquee this segment, and I'm going to press the backspace key or the delete key on a Mac to delete it. Then I'm going to press the P key to switch to the pen tool, and I'm going to click like this just to bring that thumb into that region right there, and then finally I'll complete the path outline like so. Now, I may need to make a few adjustments here, and in fact, I'm going to. One of the things I'm going to do is nudge this point over just a little, and I'm doing that using the arrow keys. And I might want to nudge this point over as well, so it's more or less aligned like it was, although this isn't essential. I'm just doing all this work for aesthetic reasons. And I'm going to take these 2 points right here, click on one, shift click on the other, and I'm going to lift them because his hand's just too darn thick, it seems to me. And this hand right here could use a little bit of thickening, so I'll drag that finger up. I'm going to have these 2 fingers tucked down eventually once I get done finishing off the interior. And this looks like it's pretty good. I'm just trying to nudge everything into alignment so that I'm comfortable with the location of the points, because once I accept them, I'm going to have to stick with them, is basically what it comes down to. So he's going to have this big giant thumb, fair enough, but his fingers are going to be a little slimmer. And now I'll marquee these points like so, because they're the ones that just got through changing. I did not select that point. I did not select that point. Just these points right here in between. And I'll press Control-C or Command-C on the Mac to copy them. All right, now I'm going to switch over, and I'm going to get rid of those similar points over on this side. Now, this takes a little bit of imagination, but I'm pretty confident it's these 3 points that need to come out. So let's give that a shot. I'll marquee them with the wide arrow tool, and I'll press the delete key or the backspace key in order to wipe them out. Then I'll press Control-V or Command-V on the Mac to paste that path just right there in the center. I don't care if it's aligned with anything at this point. And I'll go ahead and get my black arrow tool, and I'm going to drag this endpoint in alignment with this one right there, because we're going to need to lift it around like so. We're going to rotate this new path around this endpoint. So I'll press the R key to select the rotate tool, and then I'll alt-click or option-click at that shoulder location, enter an angle of negative 120 degrees, that's exactly what I want, and click OK. And now, again, we cross our fingers, go ahead and grab that wide arrow tool, marquee these 2 endpoints, and like usual, we got to do the mash your fist J number in order to confirm that we have coincident endpoints. So press Control-Shift-Alt-J, Command-Shift-Option-J on a Mac to bring up the Join dialog box, select corner, and click OK. And then go ahead and marquee these 2 endpoints. They're the last ones that need to be joined together. Press Control-Shift-Alt-J, Command-Shift-Option-J on a Mac, and that didn't work, which is really potentially a big drag. Now, I say it didn't work because we didn't get the dialog box. And when you don't get the dialog box, that means you did not have coincident endpoints. You do now because they got fused together. But I'm going to press Control-Z or Command-Z on a Mac in order to undo that modification. I'm going to turn off the template layer so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to press Control-Y or Command-Y on the Mac so I just see the path outlines. Let's get rid of those guides as well. Where are the guides these days? They're down here. And I'll hide that guides layer. And then I'm going to Control Spacebar drag around these points. That's a Command Spacebar drag in order to zoom way in on them. And I'm going to click off the points to see what the deal is. And man, even at 6,400%, I cannot see a gap. So apparently the gap's not big enough to worry about. Phew. But anyway, I'll go ahead and marquee those 2 points. You can see that they are separate because they're more rectangular when I select them than square. So one's apparently a little higher than the other. Anyway, what happens when you have 2 endpoints that aren't quite on top of each other and you press Control-Shift-Alt-J or Command-Shift-Option-J on a Mac? You both align them with each other so they just scooted right onto each other. You make them coincident, and then you go ahead and join them. And in this case, it must have joined him with a corner point, so all is well, I guess, because that should be good enough. And if you have any concerns about it, then you would run through that whole number where you select the guy and you rotate him and all that jazz. Now, we have something of a screen redraw problem here because we've got these thick edges. I should think if we just move that path a little bit like so, those will go away. Anyway, I press Control-Z, Command-Z on the Mac to undo that change. And let's just test that these guys are still in alignment with each other. I'll grab my Rotate tool. I'll Alt-click or Option-click on the bridge of the nose right there. Negative 120 degrees is fine. Copy. Then press Control-D or Command-D on the Mac in order to duplicate that rotation and duplication. Switch back to the black arrow tool, zoom in, make sure everybody's aligned with each other. Well, these hands definitely are aligned just fine, and these other areas look like they have alignment as well. So it seems we lucked out and everything's okay. I like it better when we have perfect alignment between those points, but I suppose every once in a while we can accept less than perfect results. I'm going to marquee these two paths in order to select them, press the backspace key. We're left with our core path outline with the big giant fist on one side and a strange hand signal on the other side. And we're going to go ahead and build up these paths. I'll press Control-Y, Command-Y on the Mac to switch back to the preview mode. I'm going to leave the template and guides layers turned off, but I am going to bring up this layer, Interior, which contains all the interior elements. And you can see that for the most part, everything works out just fine. He is a fairly strangely put together guy with some spikes on his back and these scales on his arm. He's wearing a monocle and he's got a pocket on the back of, is he wearing jeans or not? He's got a seam over on this side and the other side, but he doesn't really have any place for his tail to come out. So he's a fairly mysterious creature, but we do have to make some modifications. We have to bring that thumb out. We have to rearrange the fingers a little bit. We have to change the hand signal over on this side. And because my path outline has changed a little bit, because I redrew it for you here in the last few exercises, I am going to have to realign some of these points around the outside of the creature, and we will do all that work in the next exercise.